So this is H1. We're going to be running it back with another episode talking about chess knowledge, chess wisdom, and chess understanding. And today we got a game. We got Jonathan, well, not Jonathan first, but we got Peter Wells that are the white pieces against Jonathan Spielman, which is the black pieces. Peter Wells is 2480 at this moment of rating, and Jonathan is 2441 rating. And this game took place in 2006. If I'm not mistaken, August 16th. And the site was the Crowthorne ENG. I'm not going to look up what that stands for, but the event was the Staunton Memorial on the third round, if you want to look it up. All right, let's get into the game right quick. All right, let's get through this game right quick. And Peter starts off the game with the move E4. Yeah, I thought it was E4. You're going to know why I was confused about that in just a moment. But G6 was played, and I'm guessing we're going into the modern defense. And then after D4, this is why I was confused on the beginning moves, because I didn't know which pawn he pushed up first. But after D4, we got the move Bishop G7 that was played at this moment. And then after, we got Knight C3, C6, and Knight F3. And these moves are really weird, I know, but black plans on pushing this D5 pawn up or this E5 pawn. I don't know which pawn black is going to be pushing up, but usually opponents that play this way like to have the queen having the option to go to A5 too, or B6 or C7. It's a very flexible position for the black pieces, but that is the new way of how to play nowadays if you want to get a dynamic position against your opponent and you're going for a win. But after the move Knight F3, then we got this move D5 that was played at this moment. And then after D5, H3, and then Knight F6, we're attacking the E pawn. And white is going to have to do something about that. And this is what he did. Peter played E5, attacking the knight. Knight goes to E4, and yeah, we're in an opening. The modern defense. I don't know anything about this opening, but hey, we're both learning today, and there is some things that white is going to have to consider. Like, for example, should this knight be captured by this knight on C3? And who wants this knight just in the center doing its best job? Because the knight in the center is controlling 8 squares, and now you can't put your bishop on D2 or on G5, and it's a pretty annoying piece. So Peter Wells played Bishop D3 instead of just capturing the knight, because if you would have just captured the knight, then this knight would have been attacked. Then you have to go to Knight G5, and then you probably run into Black's theory, things of that nature. So in this position, Jonathan played knight takes on C3, doubling up the pawns, B takes on C3. But now the concession that you made is your pawn structure, but you can go through on this diagonal, the C1 to A3 diagonal, to maybe stop this king from castling if this E pawn is ever pushed up. But let's see what happens, because I don't know what's going to happen next. After the move, knight takes on C3. Then we have C5 undermining this pawn structure. And then white was like, you know, I already did H3. You already ruined my pawn structure. I'm not going to waste time and do some other pawn move right now. I'm going to get my king to safety while your king is still in the center for some reason. While you're trying to undermine my pieces with no pieces developed but this bishop, I'm going to get my pieces developed, and I'm going to have more time than you when I start attacking your position. And you're going to have to figure out what to do. Jonathan played at this moment C4, attacking his bishop, which this is a tempo move. So I'm not going to blame him for doing another pawn move at this position. And then +2, in this moment, the center is closed. And yeah, the white pieces isn't really looking that great. And that's why I hate these types of positions, because you should be winning since you castled your king and things of that nature. But this knight has to move in order for you to take advantage of this king not being castled, so that you can put some pressure on the king side. But in this moment, we got another pawn move, F6, instead of just developing pieces. And the engine kind of didn't like this move, but it's not a losing position still yet. After the move F6 was played, we got E takes F6, and then we got bishop, wait a minute, E takes F6, E takes f6, and then we got bishop a3, stopping the king from castling. And that's when, at this position, black decided to be like, huh, you thought you stopped me from castling. You thought that you was being a real gangster to me, right? You thought you was winning, but the computer is still giving me, what is it still giving? It's still giving white just a 0.5 advantage. So it isn't still losing for black. He can still start developing his pieces anytime that he wants to. Jonathan played king f7 to manually castle the king instead of doing it the traditional way. Which, hey, it is what it is, because the white pieces aren't organized yet, and that's why I hate getting into these types of positions at this moment. After king f7, we got the move rook b1, putting your rook on an open file. And now if this bishop tries to develop itself, you can take this free b7 pawn, which is pretty dangerous because if this bishop moves, you can take this pawn and check the king already. And that's a silly thing to be at right now. That's a silly thing to even consider. After the move rook b1, we got this weird move, queen a5, that was played, attacking the bishop. Attacking the bishop, then we got another weird move that was played. These were both inaccuracies. Bishop takes on c4, and yeah, we're sacrificing pieces because white couldn't deal with the inactivity that was going on in his position. So he was like, let's liven up the position at least a little bit, because your king is in the center. My pieces aren't doing nothing. I don't even know what to do. What move was there to do before taking this pawn? Just look at it. What move was there to do with the white pieces before taking that pawn? Because the computer is saying just doing bishop b4, but you don't even know if queen taken on a2 is bad for the white pieces, because your pieces are cramped. These pawns right here are doing an amazing job, weirdly enough, and there really isn't a plan for the white pieces. Except for like maybe doubling up on the e file. You probably have to do moves like rook e1, bishop f1, queen e2. Like, you don't got time for that. And that's why he went the aggressive route of just taking this pawn on the c4 square. All right, let's figure out what Peter Wells did next. After the move, bishop takes on c4, Jonathan was like, you think this is gonna stop me from taking your bishop? I'm still gonna take it. Show me what you got. And after he took the c4 pawn, Peter Wells was like, hey, I got queen e2. I'm gonna take your pawn. If you take my bishop, then you might be attacked for a very long time, since this king is kind of inactive. And at this moment, Spielman, Jonathan last name, he protected the pawn on the c4 square, which was accurate. And in this position, the pieces where they all are, yeah, it's completely equal. Even though the king is in castle, these pieces are developed, all of white's pieces are developed, and the thing that makes it equal is probably being down one minor piece. But at the same time, weirdly enough, I would still want to play with the white pieces, even though some players would probably want to play with the black pieces, because all you have to do with Jonathan's position is just trade pieces. After you trade pieces, then I'm winning, right? After you trade pieces, I'm winning. And maybe, just maybe in this position, probably rook d8, knight c6, developing pieces like normal. Let me check the computer right quick. Like, let's say you just developed the knight in this position. Is this really? Yeah, that is checkmating too. That is the wrongest move ever, because after the move, queen takes on c4. Yeah, that would be embarrassing to fall for that checkmate. Yep, you are right. What about this? So after bishop d7, that's still a bad move. After knight g5, falling for this check. And then after, what is it saying? Knight g5, knight g, they now have been saying capture the pawn. I want to see this variation right quick. After knight g5, F takes on G5. There's checkmate in 9 after that because F takes G5, Queen F3, attacking the king, and the king is super vulnerable at this moment. If the bishop tries to block, you got moves like Rook E7. Yeah, that's a bad position. Black's position isn't really that good now that I'm thinking about it. But I can see the understanding of why Black might have thought, hey, I'm winning and all I got to do is trade pieces and let's see what happens after that. And so he started off with the worst move in this position. And let's go through our evaluation right quick so that we know what's really going on here. We sacrificed material. We got development. We got time, like added time, because all of our pieces are developed. Our king is safer than our opponent's king. We're controlling the center now since we sacrificed a whole bishop for the c4 pawn. We have more space, clearly. And our pawn structure, it is trash, I'm not gonna lie, because we have 3 pawn islands, but at the same time, we got more of time development and center control in this position, and in space. But more development, I'll just keep that, more development. So 2 pluses on the development. Black decided to do the worst move in this position, which was bishop f8. And if you notice, bishop f8 is leaving a square undefended, which is the E8 square. Can you find the E8 square? Yes, it is right there. This isn't Dora the Explorer. The E8 square is right here on the chessboard because when this bishop moved, this rook was attacking the E8 square. And now white can use the E8 square. And after the move Queen E8, checking the king, King G7, Black might have thought maybe, just maybe, I can escape this attack and trade pieces and win the dang game. Just a maybe. But after Queen E8, it didn't stop. The relentless attack didn't stop at all. Rook takes on F8. And then after Rook takes on F8, we got the move. Rook takes on F8. And then Rook E7 check. We're not just gonna sacrifice the rook for the queen because that would just be a losing position, especially with all of these inactive pieces on the 8th rank of this position. And after Rook E7, we have King G8. And after Queen takes on F8, remember you gotta take the rook first, and this is check, and the king has to take the queen on F8 first since the king has to get out of check. And now you take the queen on the C7 square. And guess what? And guess why this is a bad position even after all those forcing moves that was played? The rook is attacking the bishop. The bishop has to move now. Well, not so, the knight can move, but anyway, nobody would like to play this position. This position is horrible. The rook is going to take this h7 pawn if the knight moves. If the bishop moves, this rook is going to be on the 7th rank too, threatening to check this king throughout this whole 8th rank. This knight can't go anywhere forward, but this knight can reroute itself to d2 and snag up the c4 pawn. There's no hope for Jonathan even getting a draw in this position. And that's what I was trying to claim, maybe, but yeah. This is how a 2500 got demolished by a 2400, which is very close in rating, so it's not that bad, but Peter Wells played a really good game at this moment, especially in 2006. Don't you think so? He demolished the modern defense. Should I make that the title? It's probably not going to be the title, but still, this is how you play against the modern defense. And what is the lessons that we learned today? Well, we learned that we can sacrifice material for double time. We learned that, hey, castle your king or you're going to be in some boosty position trying to do king f7 to survive, which if your opponent developed all of their pieces and you're doing moves like king f7, just know you should be on high alert of losing the game. And after, okay, so castling your king, center control, so we control the center, because whoever controls the center controls the game. Seen in this position, a hard game to even play, even though it was completely equal, you still overwhelmed your opponent to making a mistake. Even grandmasters fall for this all the time. And that's why you can't be afraid to attack a grandmaster. Don't act like that they're God or something. They're human. They got flesh and blood. Like, I don't care who you're facing. I don't care if you're facing Magnus Carlsen. Attack them like Peter Wells. But anyway, White had more space, controlling the whole B file and the whole E file. Black could have even developed the bishop or the knight in this position, and then our pawn structure was trash. But, you know, I would rather have a trash pawn structure than be behind him in development, king safety, center control, in space. That is clearly the medicine of disaster. You know what I mean? But anyway, hopefully you enjoyed this, and you know, stay safe out there. I don't know what's going on in your life, but just be careful. Don't get attacked like this guy. Don't be Jonathan. Avoid being Jonathan.